Hey guys, David with DA1 Training. Today I'm going to talk about the Ferro Concepts Plate Carrier version 5 that has just come out. I'll talk about the different features that it has, also assemble it for you, and kind of discuss some of the other options that are out there from Ferro for you. So when we order this, it comes as a base setup. So what that means is we get the front plate bag, the rear plate bag, and the shoulder straps. The Cummerbund you have to purchase separately. They offer different variations of it depending on how you want to run this rig itself. The carrier is all made out of 500D laminate. They've got laser cut for your Molly and Pals webbing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the front plate bag. Right away we can see the quality of this piece of kit. The stitching is all very straight, nice lines. The material they're using here is like 500D laminate. It's all been laser cut. So starting at the top, we've got the full width admin pouch that allows us to kind of store whatever administrative tools or equipment that we want. On top of that, there's this big piece of Velcro so we can put either more pouches or flags and patches and whatever else you would want on there. And here we've got our laser cut Pals webbing, so this is allowing us to attach either like push-to-talks or maybe more buckles or whatever you want. On the side here is the built-in comms routing system for the cables going to your radio. Further down we've got more laser cuts that we can attach the Quasm buckles or the G-hook style. Hidden under here are two more loops that allows the attachment of the G-hook style placards. This keeps it nice and low profile and prevents any type of snagging hazard that you could potentially have running such a system. I'm a big fan of how they did this. Next, moving on down, just this big piece of Velcro for different placard adapters. So depending on mission requirements, we have different magazines or tools that we need to run on there, so it allows us to really kind of change them out nice and quick. So on the back side of the front plate bag, we've got some of this tweed material right here that stretches, so this allows different thicknesses of plates to fit in here. Gives a decent amount of stretch. But it does get a little tight, as I'll kind of discuss a little bit later. Same thing down here. This is tweed, and there's some elastic on the inside of this. Further down, to protect the inside of the tweed, they've ran this nylon material all the way up the back side of this, just kind of durability's sake, I think. And then on the what's facing the front is all this nylon as well, just to kind of add a little more durability. So the rear plate bag is made out of the 500D laminate. There is these comms routing systems right here. All the laser cut webbing material right here. They've kind of added a little extra notch so it makes it easier to lift it up and kind of run your different attachments through there. So that's a nice addition that they did here. They also do have the zipper attachment system that is proprietary to Ferro Concepts rear attachment system. So you won't be able to run, say, like Cry Precision or Spiritus or any other companies on there without an adapter of sorts. So the rear side of the rear plate bag, again, more of the laminate material, the tweed here that allows the stretch for different plate sizes. Same thing on the bottom, just like on the front plate bag. Right here, we've got a nice big panel of Velcro. This is where your Cummerbund actually attaches to. On the inside, this is the actual plate pocket where you slide your ballistic plate into. And then it all secures just like this. Okay. The interesting thing about this is it's actually like its own completely separate compartment. Instead of integrating everything together to save material, they've actually just used more, which adds a little bit of weight, but everything is still very, very lightweight. All right, so next we're going to talk about how to attach the shoulder straps. Not a whole lot to these, bunch of loop webbing. This is how we make our adjustments. So what Ferro did on these, they decided to go with a standard metal ring here and a miniature cobra buckle. I think it's a 1-inch cobra buckle. So this does is allows us to kind of take the carrier off a little bit more quickly. We have to decide which side that we want to put either of these on. Me being a right-handed shooter, I'm going to put the buckle on the left side. That way there's less of a chance of it rubbing up against my buttstock. So first things first, I'll do the ring. Slide it through. Just kind of close this up. On the inside of the carrier itself, in the admin pouch, there are these straps. Okay, so this is how we're going to connect the shoulder strap to the carrier itself. So you just loop it through. Now if we look down inside the admin pouch, there is actually 2 rows of webbing right there. So we're going to actually loop this through the very top one, and we're going to tuck it back in underneath itself. Okay. So once we've rigged these through, it should be just like this. Okay, we loop it back and then it comes up underneath itself, and this will keep it nice and locked in. We don't have to worry about it coming loose on us. The reason is that they went with this system. It gives us a little bit of movement, so the plate actually moves separate from our shoulders and the rest of our body. Okay, this keeps it nice and tight against us and allows us a lot more freedom of movement. All right, so one of the Cummerbund options is the Adapt 3-inch Assault Cummerbund, which you're seeing right here. This is the one I chose to go with. This provides some structure between the front and back parts of the carrier. That way it provides a little bit of a load-bearing surface as well. So what how they accomplish this is they're using this carbon fiber looking material, which is actually called Tigris. This has become pretty common in the industry amongst different manufacturers. It's extremely lightweight, it's strong, you can bend it, and it works very well. So they actually went through and did these laser cutouts to shed excess weight and kind of gives a little bit of a cool factor, I guess. They also have included PALS webbing all the way down the sides, so you can attach your comms pouches or tourniquets, side plates, whatever it might be. The flip side, they also have all this loop fabric right here. Again, Ferro's side plate adapters, they just use the Velcro itself. One of my favorite things about this is actually they have a hidden stretch panel in here, so when you bend over or move side to side, this actually will allow the plate carrier to move with you, so it's not completely locked on. It's kind of a cool little feature, and you just don't notice until you pull on it. So to attach the Cummerbund to our rear plate bag, we just flip this back over. That exposes this panel of loop, and just place it on there. When we're attaching our Cummerbund to the back, the lower that we can put it on the bag, the better, because this will actually help the plates sit higher up on our back and actually protect our vital organs the way it's supposed to. We're going to have to put it on and kind of do a trial and error type thing to adjust it to our body, but that's the basics of it right there. So to attach the rear plate bag shoulder straps to our front plate bag shoulder straps, we just fold them over on top of each other. Again, we're going to have to go through and put this on our body and actually adjust it for the size itself, but that's all there is to it. There's a lot of things I really like about this carrier itself. It's extremely lightweight. The carrier itself is 15.4 ounces, and then the Cummerbund is another 6.4 ounces, so with a combined weight of 1 pound, 5.8 ounces, this is an extremely light carrier. Everything kind of starts adding up, so the lighter they can make it, the better. Big fan of the having a built-in admin pouch, and the hidden loops here for the placard adapter I'm a big fan of. It frees up real estate right here between these two, so we can attach more stuff to it. It's always just good not taking up real estate if we don't need to. So that was an excellent thing that they integrated into this carrier. The use of the Cobra buckle and this the ring for the shoulder straps. Again, this is a very nice feature. Makes it so it's just more comfortable to wear. Adding the tweave onto the back of the carriers, the panels to allow it to adjust for plate size is nice. That being said, I do have some things I personally would like change on it, or I would have done a little bit differently. One of them, instead of having a Velcro closure for the abdomen pouch, I actually would have preferred a zipper. Again, this is a very personal preference. The shoulder straps, I'm not really a big fan of how they did this with this extra loop here. I feel like they could have maybe just made this a small tail or something like that. Maybe just little different options, and then you actually adjust by where you attach the rear plate bag, because as it sits right now, the two pieces do not sit completely flush, so you're actually missing some surface space to actually keep this attached. And it's also just kind of creating more space here, which can potentially rub up on our neck. The carrier does not come with any socks covering the shoulder straps here. Being laser cut, these are somewhat sharp, so after wearing it for a while, you could definitely probably get some chafing on the neck, which would be very uncomfortable. I feel they probably should have included the socks with these instead of an extra option to buy. And then if you want to upgrade to the padded shoulder straps that they also sell, that would be, you know, an upcharge in itself. So I just kind of feel like that's something they could have easily thrown in there. Bags themselves, the plates I have in here are a level 3+ made by Hesco. They measure a little bit under an inch, or like 0.9 something. As they sit in this bag, they are very tight. It was a chore to get them in this, which is nice because it keeps it nice and streamlined and keeps the plates from shifting around the bag. However, between the tweave and the 500D, it's actually kind of stretching out the seams a little bit. We'll see after a while if this actually holds up. But to me, it's so snug that it doesn't really fit properly. I tried it with 3 different variants of plates, another set of 3+, and also my level 4 Ceradynes. They're all fairly close in measurement and the width. None of them are over an inch, and all of them are sitting the same way with the carrier. So maybe over time it'll stretch a little bit more, but that's just something that I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. The use of an almost completely separate bag on the inside here for your plate versus the back panel here. I can actually get my hand all the way up in there. I'm not really sure why they did that and they didn't just laser cut it all into one piece, thus not using as much material, which also adds up in weight, and just kind of streamlines it. I'm sure they have their reasons, but to me, I just don't really understand why they didn't do that. The final thing is actually with the Cummerbund itself. I wish they would have included webbing on this side as well, so you have the option of running a MOLLE pouch on either side of the Cummerbund itself. This gives us more space so we can run things, and just sometimes we might not want it on the outside, we want it on the inside, and those pouches, not all of them are Velcro compatible, so this is just kind of a small oversight. I think they could have just done that right into the Velcro itself. Cry Precision does that with their structural Cummerbund. I think they really did a great job with that. Speaking of the Cummerbund, I had hit on earlier about the stretch that is in there. One thing I have noticed with running around with this thing, all weekend long I was wearing this thing, kind of testing it out. I can kind of feel it binding a little bit, so you can feel it when it snaps back into place. It's very minor. If you're actually not focusing on it, you're probably not going to notice it, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of one of those things I am noticing already, just because I'm trying to be critical of it. That being said, I think this is an outstanding plate carrier from Ferro, and like everything else they make, they really do take their time and put a lot of thought into this. I know a lot of people really tested this thing out in the field before they released it, so they took a lot of feedback and put it into this carrier. So thanks for checking out the video. Hopefully you've kind of learned some things about this. I know it's a very new product, so I'm trying to get this out, so maybe this will help people decide whether or not they want to go with this or a different type of carrier. Overall, I think this is an outstanding carrier. I have used a lot of different carriers throughout the years, and this is definitely up there at the top of the ones that I've used.